following program is closed captioned for the thinking impaired.
Nights in White Castle, I'm drunk once again. Sliders I'm eating with all of my drunken friends. The bars are all closed now, there's nowhere else left to go. But what's in these rat burgers, I really don't want to know, 'cause I love them. Yes, I love them. Oh, how I love them. Nights in White Castle, now it's 3:45, but I ain't going home now, 'cause I'm still looking to score. How I love these gut busters with their little square buns, but I know I'll get heartburn and a bad case of the runs. But I love them. Yes, I love them. Oh, how I love them.
Sally called when she got the word. She said, I suppose you've heard about Alice. Well, I rushed to the window and I looked outside, but I could hardly believe my eyes as a big limousine rolled up into Alice's drive. I don't know why she's leaving or where she's gonna go. I guess she's got her reasons, but I just don't wanna know. 'Cause for 24 years I've been living next door to Alice. Alice? Who the fuck is Alice? 24 years just waiting for a chance to tell her how I feel and maybe get a second glance. Now I've got to get used to not living next door to Alice. In the park, carved our initials deep in the bark. Me and Alice. Now she walks through the door with her head held high. Just for a moment I caught her eye as a big limousine pulled slowly out of Alice's drive. I don't know why she's leaving or where she's gonna go. I guess she's got her reasons, but I just don't wanna know. 'Cause for 24 years I've been living next door to Alice. Alice? Who the fuck is Alice? 24 years just waiting for a chance to tell her how I feel and maybe get a second glance. Now I've got to get used to not living next door to Alice. And asked how I felt, and she said, I know how to help. Get over Alice. She said, now Alice is gone, but I'm still here. You know I've been waiting for 24 years. And the big limousine disappeared. I don't know why she's leaving or where she's gone. she's got her reasons, but I just don't wanna know. 'Cause for 24 years I've been living next door to Alice. Alice! Who the fuck is Alice? 24 years just waiting for a chance to tell her how I feel and maybe get a second glance. But I'll never get used to not living next door to Alice. Alice! Who the fuck is Alice? I don't know why she's leaving or where she's gonna go. I guess she's got her reasons, but I just don't wanna know. 'Cause for 24 years I've been living next door to Alice. Alice! Who the fuck is Alice? 24 years just waiting for a chance to tell her how I feel and maybe get a second glance. But I'll never get used to not living next door to Alice. Alice! Who the fuck is Alice? I don't know why she's leaving or where she's gonna go. I guess she's got her reasons, but I just don't wanna know. 'Cause for 24 years I've been living next door to Alice.
Hello, and welcome to the 6th Brain Sandwich podcast. My name is Mike Madonna, and I'm still doing the shows alone, and will be until probably the end of the year. For those of you who knew us when we were broadcasting on a community radio in St. Louis, you will remember Jim and Jay. The three of us will be getting together after the new year to do some podcasting then. So the wait's almost over. So there you have it. All right, we start out with Nights at White Castle, or Nights in White Castle, I guess it is, by the Dan Orr Project, and then Alice by Gompie, Gompie, one of the mini CDs that was sent to me over the years when I was still on the radio. Couldn't play that one then, but now that we're podcasting, all bets are off. So as you can tell, this is one of those explicit advisory programs here. I hopefully put them out before people click on them so that they kind of have an understanding that this is not for the kids and so forth. All right, let's move along. Here is Johnson and Tofty with Major Connie, good parody of Peter Schilling's Major Tom. And this is about the first cow in space on the St. Louis Brain Sandwich Show.
Seconds and counting. And the final abort checks between several key members of the crew here in the control center and the astronauts. Launch operations manager wished the crew on the launch team's behalf good luck and Godspeed.
Still wrapped inside the capsule, there is a Holstein. She weighs 600 pounds. To be sure, wearing special space gear, she sits there waiting, a heifer and her crew, with milk pail in place. First cow in space. Connie had 6 years of in-flight training, chewing on her cud in the centrifuge, learning to give milk in zero gravity. Her training is complete. She's learned quite a lot. The first cosmonaut. 4, 3, 2. Major Connie, space age Guernsey, floating whalers, swatting flies, first mate hoopster, mans the throttle, heading skyward for the Milky Way. Past Uranus, there is a problem. They see something startling up on the screen. Poopster squeals with Connie. It's Space Invaders. Connie's lost her nerve at 900 miles an hour. Her milk's gone sour. Blue and green invaders from planet Procto. They surround the spaceship with deadly gas. But Connie is resourceful. She grabs an udder and lets a stream of milk fly right into their eye. The aliens die. 4, 3, 2. Major Connie, alien slayer, floating whalers, swatting
All the second stage tanks now take about 35 seconds in Canada. We are fuel for 30 seconds in Canada. Astronauts report the fuel's good. T-minus 25 seconds. 20 seconds and counting. T-minus 15 seconds.
Sweetheart, I'm fixing to take a bath. You want to save some water? Have some good, clean fun? Come on, hop on in here. Is that temperature all right? Good. You know, it may sound strange and it may sound dopey, but it sure feels good when we both get soapy. Splashing and splashing and playing with my submarine. Oh, that tickles. I think of that water that I've been saving, not to mention your body that I've been craving. I never thought it could be this much fun to get it clean. Rub-a-dub-dub with you in the tub. Get much cleaner, I feel much greener. Taking a bath is so much fun with a friend. I like bathing when you do it double. Precious, would you please pass me to Mr. Bubble? Getting cleaner than clean from end to end. What would you do with that soap? You stinker. Come on, just stay and linger. Scrub my back. It feels so fine. I'll wash yours if you wash mine. Rub-a-dub-dub with you in the tub. I get much cleaner. I feel much keener. Taking a bath is ever so much more fun with a friend. With friends like you, I sure am lucky. You're more fun than my rubber ducky. Getting cleaner than clean from end to end. I've never done anything like this before.
The late, great Mary Wilson with Rub-a-Dub-Dub, and before that, Major Connie, first cow in space, Johnson and Tofty. Mary Wilson was killed about 3 Christmases ago, I believe it was, in a tragic car accident, and of course you might remember her from her hit Telephone Man. I believe that was from 1977, and she had a follow-up to that called Peter the Meter Reader, and then as we got into the new millennium, she did Internet Man, which I've never heard or been able to get a hold of at this point. All right, as I speak to you from the Secret Enclave here at Brain Sandwich Central, it is November 4th. It's election night, so as I'm putting these spots together here, when I take a break, I run in and check on the election figures. And as of now, Senator Obama has about 102 electoral votes to McCain's 30-something, whatever it is. It's going to be an interesting night, I guess, here. Okay, if you've been listening to the previous podcast, then you'll know I've been playing the blooper albums, and tonight will be no exception. This one is All-Time Great Bloopers Volume 2, and we have 4 more to get through, and then I think I have a best-of collection somewhere, and once that's done, it's done, and it'll be up there for you to get anytime you want to hear it. It's the entire Volume 2, front and back. Just edited it all together so you could have it in one fell swoop, as they say. So here it is on the Brain Sandwich Show.
Starting next week at the Paramount Theater, you will see that rollicking comedy smash hit Paleface, starring Bob Hope, America's favorite comedian, and lovely Jane Russell. Boy, what a pair!
Listen now to this classic moment from an audience participation human interest program.
And now our next contestant was chosen right from our studio audience. And listen to that little laugh she has there. It's so cute. Now, what's your name, ma'am?
Hilda Johnson.
Well, Miss Johnson, you don't mind if I call you Hilda, do you? Laugh. Well, Hilda, what are you going to do with the money if you win?
I have a very sick son.
Listen to this disc jockey's introduction to Montavani's Lazy Gondolier.
Designs in Music continues now as we hear Montavani's most recent recording from London, Lousy Gondolier.
Let's listen now to a commercial for McPeter's Funeral Parlor.
And friends, your loved ones can receive no finer care than that offered by McFuneral's Peter Parlor.
And now we switch you to police headquarters downtown for further developments on the Mary Harkness case.
This is Police Sergeant Edward O'Reilly. The parents of Mary Harkness have asked the police to search for their daughter, who has been missing since 6 p.m. yesterday. She was last seen wearing a blue sweater, gray skirt. Mary is 99 years old and weighs 9 pounds.
Writer Clifford Irving entered the federal penitentiary at Lewisburg, Pennsylvania yesterday to begin a 2.5-year jail sentence in the Howard Hughes in the hoax.
A French-Canadian announcer blooped his way through this one.
This is the Dominion network of the Canadian Broadcoping Castration.
You can save while you earn. Why not be smart? Where you work or where you bank, save up for a rainy day. Join the Blonde a Month plan.
The most annoying thing, the most wonderful thing about this new DuPont paint is that it leaves no annoying panty odor.
A young lady on a children's program relating the story of Cinderella came up with the following.
Suddenly, Cinderella looked up at the clock. It was striking 12. As she ran from the palace, she dropped her slipper. But when she reached the door, she was again in rags, as the wee bitching hour struck.
Sometimes an announcer can get a cue prematurely. He may not be ready for it. Here is an example of the consequences.
In Washington, General Bradley's speech today was one of several interesting news developments dealing with our military defenses. Here's a summary by Gunner Back. We seem to be unable to contact Washington at this time. Let's try once again. Our cue to Washington is here is a summary by Gunner Back. Sorry, we seem to be unable, for some inexplicable reason, to contact correspondent Gunner Back in Washington, even as we have contacted him every night for the past 8 years. Well, now then, to the nation's sports fans, the biggest news in quite a while is building tonight in Chicago, where world heavyweight champion Rocky Marciano is about to meet that challenge from ex-champ Jersey Joe Walcott. We sent correspondent Tom Casey to the weighing-in ceremonies today, and he recorded this report at that dramatic scene. Well, Mother told me there would be days like this. Shall we try once again for Chicago? Calling Tom Casey in Chicago. Our cue is this report at that dramatic scene. Unfortunately, we had been told earlier today that Tom Casey had recorded a very fascinating report at the weighing-in ceremonies in which he had the voices of both Joe Walcott and Rocky Marciano. Let's see what else we have in the news to talk about this evening on a memorable headline edition, at least to me. Suppose we come back to you in just a moment or two. On this cue, I'll be back in a minute with more news.
Headline Edition is one of over 60 top ABC news shows brought to you each week by a distinguished staff of reporters, analysts, and commentators. ABC specializes in swift, accurate, and complete reporting of the latest happenings here and abroad. That kind of news coverage doesn't just happen. A trained newsman fills in the coloring of the event to life, but it takes an experienced correspondent to know how that event fits the overall news pattern. Now, here again is Headline Edition.
With portions transcribed. What portions? That's today's Headline Edition.
Here's a moment from one of your favorite quiz programs.
The answer to this question is famous author Alexander Dumas.
Here's your question. Now, there was a famous French author. In fact, there was a father and son who wrote many, many famous stories. Now, we want the name of the father. He is a man who wrote The Black Tulip, After 20 Years, and The Three Musketeers. What is the name of this famous French author?
I got it in the tip of my tongue.
Come on.
Let me see. Oh, Alexander Dumbass. Oh, Henry Dumbass.
Let's listen to this recipe for crisp crab salad.
And for all you guests here at the lunchtime matinee, we have a real treat in store. A crisp, crabbed,
Our next subject, Mr. Anthony, is Mrs. G.J. of the Bronx. She finds great humiliation in the fact that her parents constantly castigate her husband.
What is your problem, madam?
Well, it concerns my husband.
Would you step closer to the microphone, please, and speak louder?
All right. My husband, we've been happily married for 14 years. I don't know how to explain it, but suddenly my husband pays no attention to me, and I try.
Would you please get to the point, madam?
Yes. Yes, Mr. Anthony, I will. Well, it seems that yesterday my father came down and he castrated my husband about the subject.
I understand by your problem, madam.
Well,
I know. Now, will you hold 1 second,
I
please?
figured my father was a man and my
husband was a man. 1 second, please, madam. One moment, please. Madam, 1 moment.
I'm sorry.
On a science program, a learned professor was demonstrating the principles of friction.
Now I take my ball bearings here, and I put them at the top of the ramp, and I roll my balls down the ramp. Now, you see, they are no longer in a state of inertia. They are moving. There's gravity involved, and there's the friction involved. But once you get into movements, you have a different set of controls entirely. All your movements are controlled by physics.
Friday is poultry night, remember. All ladies present will get a free goose. That is, all ladies will get a goose for free.
Two of the greatest names in early radio were Billy Jones and Ernie Hare, the Happiness Boys. Perhaps some old-timers may remember this incident.
How do you do, everybody? How do you do? How do you do, everybody? How do you do? Billy Jones and Ernie Hare with the interwoven pair. How do you do, do? Hey, Billy, tell me something else. Do you know a car that starts with B? B. That's a Buick. That's right. Now, before we get on to our car song, how about a car that starts with H? H. That's a Huntmobile. And a car that starts with P. With P? Don't kid me. No car starts with P.
We make this offer to help you discover the real smoking pleasure of these truly fine cigars.
Cut the mic.
It's a very thrilling sight here at the Municipal Auditorium. Tonight, the season opens with a gala charity performance of Puccini's La Boheme. The house lights dim as the maestro takes his place on the podium. I see Mrs. Lucille Carter, the chairwoman of the Cultural Committee, coming down the aisle. All eyes are on her as she picks her seat.
Here's an incident that occurred on an audience participation program where the contestant should have left well enough alone.
And if you answer this question, you'll be richer by $25. Now name 5 parts of the body beginning with the letter B.
Oh. Brains, bones, blood, balls. I mean eyeballs.
Before our next recorded selection, here is our daily birth announcement from the Municipal Hospital. Last night at the hospital, 42 babies were born. And now, don't blame me.
Important news bulletins are put on the air at the earliest possible moment. But sometime they raise havoc with a regularly scheduled program, as witness this interruption of a Wild Bill Hickok episode starring Guy Madison and Andy Devine.
He's heading for the pass. You better cut him off, Jingles. We interrupt this program to bring you a bulletin from the Mutual Newsroom. According to an announcement from Moscow Radio, Laurenti Beria has just been executed. We now return you to Wild Bill Hickok. Well, I don't want to hold him out, Bill.
Here's another incident from one of the popular quiz programs heard by millions.
Now, before we get to your next question, let me ask you a few questions. You aren't nervous, are you?
A little.
What are you nervous about?
I don't know.
Listen, let me talk about your family for a second. How many brothers you got?
7.
7 brothers? How many sisters?
I've got 7 sisters, too.
7 brothers and 7 sisters?
Mm-hmm.
Gee, what a family. You said you were married, didn't you?
Yeah.
How many children do you have?
1.
Only 1?
Give me a chance. I've only been married a month.
A television salesman was demonstrating a new do-it-yourself airplane kit for youngsters.
Well, now, you can have this model plane all for yourself, and it's a lot of fun. You just take this kit, and it comes completely set up for you. All the parts are ready to put together. You take the parts, and you... Well, this section here is... Well, just a minute now. It must be a little stiff. This is a very educational toy. It teaches children how to cuss.
An open microphone can be dangerous. Let's tune in on a local high school amateur hour.
Who goofed the soprano?
The unpredictable ad-lib has given more than one announcer gray hair, as this man-on-the-street program interview announcer learned.
Here we are with our man-on-the-street microphone at the corner of 7th and Market Streets, and we're about to have another one of our daily programs interviewing and questioning folks from in and around our area. First of all, let's find an interviewee here. Here's a charming young lady. Would you like to talk to us today?
Hell no.
Weather forecast programs very often originate from airports, with weather personnel doubling as announcers. Their inexperience and lack of suitable studio facilities sometimes produce unexpected results.
Good afternoon. The agricultural bulletin for northwestern South Carolina today through Wednesday is for temperatures to average about 5 degrees above the normal of 76. Hold it a minute, will you, down there?
Hey, would you hold a minute while I read my broadcast?
Okay, let's start over it, boys. Good afternoon. The agricultural bulletin for northwestern South Carolina today through Wednesday is for temperatures to average about 5 degrees above the normal for the period of 76.
Hey, would you hold a minute?
Continued warm weather expected. Our low temperature this morning was 70 after yesterday's high of 93. And now back to your studio.
Okay, boys. One away.
There's excitement in store on our $1 million movie tonight with Ann Sheridan. Stay tuned as Phillips Milk of Magnesia brings you Woman on the Run.
Clock shows 28 seconds to go. There's the snap back to center. Looks like a pass. It is a pass. Intercepted by Ostrowski, number 42. He's up to the 10, the 20, the 30. He's past the midfield stripe and he's running wild. He's scoring. He's scoring. Look at that son of a bitch run.
Here's a news item that was handed to a newscaster without it being checked in advance. And in the head-on collision of the 2 passenger cars, 5 people were killed in the crash. 2 seriously. An announcer, after a hard and long day at the studio, admitted he had other things on his mind when it came time for doing this commercial for a beauty salon.
Ladies, when it's time for a trip to the beauty parlor, remember it's Helen's on 5th and Main Street. Helen's has the reputation for being the town's finest beauty saloon.
And we want you to remember that all of this hour's records are dedicated to this month's June brides, as we now listen to It Only Hurts for a Little While.
Let's tune in on your comparative shopper of the year.
Our price survey made at the various local department stores here in town shows very little change in prices. Our survey shows that the only items pertain to ladies' dresses and men's pants. Ladies' dresses are going up and men's trousers are going down all over town.
And now back to our all-request recorded program. We've had a request for a record by that popular Irish tenor, Mary Olanza.
And now, back to Paul Harvey.
Oh, did you see today's Wall Street Journal trying to cheer itself up? Reports on the lady who was shopping for a frilly nightgown as a birthday present for her pet poodle. They didn't have any, but the store clerk said, if you'll measure the dog, we'll have one made. And the lady said, oh, I couldn't do that. I want it to be a surprise. Page 2.
One of the most spectacular kinds of automobile accidents is the one in which a car not only gets banged up, but bursts into flames. What makes it really horrible is the idea that a driver and his passengers, stunned by the accident, may be trapped inside the burning car. The National Safety Council says that, fortunately for most of us, this type of spectacular smash-up is very rare. Only one driver... Good night, Mother. The thing that stuns people inside a car, well, some days just doesn't make it up.
Attention, young ladies. Attention, young ladies. Your country needs your services. Hospitals throughout the nation are greatly understaffed. Nurses are urgently needed. Volunteer to be one of America's white-clapped ladies of mercy.
We take you now to Minneapolis and hear the MC of a program known as Polka Dance Party.
Well, radio audience, this is a sad day for this program. Alice Dale, who has been mistress of ceremonies on this show with me, is leaving after 5 years. The producers of this program and the sponsors have decided that her replacement will come from the ranks of our loyal radio listeners. All you talented ladies who feel that you can do the job can apply. So, ladies, if you want to be my mistress, call Newton 20161.
We now take you to the 50-yard line, where a Big Ten football game is in progress.
The center snaps the ball back. It's Peters on a handoff from the quarterback. He cuts off tackle. He's down to the 30, the 20, the 10, and he's hit by number 88 with a ferocious tackle. It knocks Peters out of bounds. Uh-oh. Peters is stretched out with his teammates gathered around him. It may be that bad leg again. Looks like a bad break for them. Now the coach has decided to take him out, and Peters is limping off the field as a hush falls on the state rooters. Now, looks like the team will have to play with Peters out.
On the television show This Is Your Life, guests and relatives are usually flown in by a well-known airline. On one occasion, Lily Pons, the noted opera star, was the one whose life was being recreated. The master of ceremonies asked her mother if she had been flown in by the airline.
Oh, no, I don't like the airplane. It's not safe. I took the train.
We return you to the speaker's platform, where the audience is being addressed by Adlai Stevenson.
Protest demonstrations have taken place by workers whose trade union rights have been betrayed, by Catholics whose freedom of expression has been circumscribed, by professional men... Well, I believe it at least is a Christian right.
Let's listen to an introduction of famous news commentator John Cameron Swayze.
Stay tuned for John Solomon Kwasi and the news.
All of society is expected to turn out for the charity ice show to be staged at our arena on February 3rd. One of our girls, Miss Lizzie Barker, will be competing in the figure shaking championship.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, we'd like to introduce our cooking expert, who will tell you all about our new Betty Baker's Crock Mix. Betty Crocker's Bake Mix.
Good morning. Today we are going to bake a spice cake with special emphasis on how to flour your nuts.
Let's listen to this proud professor of music telling a radio audience about one of his pupils on a program that originated from a well-known college of music.
Our next number is Tchaikovsky's Violin Concerto, featuring our own violin virtuoso, Saal Tannenbaum. You will notice Mr. Tannenbaum plays passages of ease with the greatest of difficulty.
Play-by-play sports announcers sometimes get so carried away by the excitement of the moment that they forget that they are broadcasting on a live microphone to millions of people.
The bases are loaded. Count is 2 balls and 2 strikes on Waruski. Here comes a pitch. It's a long fly deep to right field. Miller's fading back, drops his sunglasses over his eyes, and the son of a bitch dropped the ball with 3 on and 2 out.
A rock and roll disc jockey inadvertently picked up a recording left in his studio by a previous program which featured an hour of concert music. He picked up a recording of a Rachmaninoff piano concerto and gave it the following introduction.
Now here's a record that features a selection by Rachmaninoff. Must be some new cat. Let's give it a listen to.
We take you directly to a county fair in Arkansas.
While we're waiting for the main event to start, I might as well tell you about some other things that are happening down here, too. Now, Charlie Haybaker, he's from Hickory Grove, R.D. He has his nuts on display on a counter just down the aisle.
According to Enoch Powell, MP from Wolverhampton, the pound will suffer further fluctuation before it stabilizes.
Performers in radio and television have to start their careers somewhere. Mic fright is one of the beginner's biggest problems. Here's a case where a young lady had great difficulty in getting the words out on her first broadcast which dealt with fashions.
And now for the latest from the fashion world. It is good news for men. Women are going to wear their dresses. And now for the latest And now for the latest from the fashion world. It is good news for men. Women are not going to wear their dresses any longer this year.
Lowell Thomas and the news. All have you a few more unforgettable words?
About a new book called Diet or Die. Author, Mrs. Celesta Geyer, perhaps better known to millions of carnival fans as the one-time Dolly Dimples. Remember, the world's most beautiful fat lady? That was the billing Mrs. Geyer used when she weighed 555 pounds. Count them, 555 pounds. Now a svelte 122. She tells in her book how she did it, following the advice of a doctor who told her after a near-fatal heart attack to diet or die. The secret of effective weight loss, massive willpower, says Mrs. Geyer, adding that her own willpower was strengthened by the memory. Well, anyhow, she said that her fat friends from Carnival Life died at an early age, later buried from the back of a truck. Those her own words. Why truck? Because, said Mrs. Geyer, they were too big for a hearse. Oh, gosh.
Oh. And so long until Monday, Lowell. Listen each evening, Monday through Friday at the same time, for the distinctive news reports of Lowell Thomas.
Let's listen to an important public service message about the Salk polio vaccine.
Since the latest outbreak of this crippling disease, over 150,000 shots have been administered to children in 13 states. So remember, be sure to get your pork polio vaccine.
Bing Crosby, wrap your troubles in dreams, take 4.
Castles may tumble, that's fate after all. Life's really funny that way. Sang the wrong melody, we'll play it back. See what it sounds like, hey, hey. They cut out 8 bars, the dirty bastard. And I didn't know which 8 bars he was gonna cut. somebody tell me these things around here? Holy Christ, I'm going off my nut.
Oh, you young men don't know what a thrill it is for me to be up here this afternoon addressing you. We want all you Cub Scouts to know that you should pick your own leader, who can be like myself, either a male or female, or a combination of both.
For a limited time, you can take advantage of this brand new refrigerator trade-in offer and get a new self-defrosting refrigerator with all the latest features. Housewives, here's a chance to trade... I'm sorry.
What in the hell happened?
I'm sorry, my hand hit the mic. For a limited time, you can take advantage of this brand new refrigerator trade-in offer and get a new self-defrosting refrigerator with all the latest features. Housewives, here's a chance to trade in your old box for $150. Sounds like a great idea.
Kermit Schaefer's All-Time Great Bloopers, Volume 2, in its entirety there. And as I have mentioned before, I will get the other volumes into future podcasts until we get them all done for you there. All right, let me remind you that we have a website, brainsandwich.bravehost.com. You can go there and leave us a message, or you can see some of the neat videos that our webmaster Frank has put up there for us. And as the months go by, I'm sure we'll be adding more and more stuff up there. You can also send us an email directly at brainboys@aol.com. Now, part of the weird and wonderful things that I find, and I get them from all sorts of places here, every once in a while I find something that somebody has put together that it's just so weird and wonderful that I have to do it. And since this is basically an uncensored program, I'll play it for you now. I don't know who did this. This is well, I know the artist is Barbra Streisand because she got upset at somebody in her audience and shouted this particular phrase at them, and somebody got a hold of it and made it into a mix. So here's Barbra Streisand with "Shut the Fuck Up" on the Brain Sandwich Show.
Up. Shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. Shut up if you can't take a joke. Shut the fuck up. Shut up. Shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. Would you? Shut the fuck up. Shut up if you can't take a joke. Shut the fuck up. Shut up. Or give him his money back. Give him his money back. Go get your money back. Give him his money back. Give him his money back. Go get your money back. Shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. Shut up if you can't take a joke. Shut the fuck up. Shut up. Shut up, shut up. Shut up. Shut up, shut up. Shut the fuck up. Shut up, shut up. Shut up. Shut up, shut up. Shut the fuck up. Give him his money, shut the fuck up. Give him his money, shut up, shut up. Give him his money, shut up if you can't take a joke. Give him his money, shut up if you can't, shut up. Shut the fuck up.
park bench, eyeing little girls with bad intent. Snot running down his nose, greasy fingers smearing shabby clothes. Hey, Aqualung, drying in the cold sun, watching as the frilly panties run. Feeling like a dead duck, spitting out pieces of his broken luck. Hey, Aqualung, sun streaking cold, an old man wandering lonely, taking time the only way he knows. Leg hurting bad as he bends to pick a dog, and he goes down to the bar and warms his feet. Feeling alone, the armies up the road, salvation a la mode, and a cup of tea. Aqualung, my friend, don't start away uneasy. Your poor old sob, you see, it's only me. Do you remember December's foggy freeze, when the ice that clings on to your beard was screaming agony, and you snatched your rattling last breath with deep sea diver sound, and the flowers bloom like madness in the spring. Sha-la-la-la-la-la, sitting on a park bench, eyeing little girls with bad intent. Snot running down his nose, greasy fingers smearing shabby clothes. Hey, Aqualung, drying in the cold sun, watching as the frilly panties run. Feeling like a dead duck, spitting out pieces of his broken luck. Hey, Aqualung, hey,
Prozac for Lovers, doing the song Aqualung. It's one of my favorite versions of the song, and I wish I had more stuff by them, but I can't seem to get a hold of them. And before that, Barbra Streisand with Shut the Fuck Up. I just thought was absolutely wonderful. Somebody took the time to put that together. There you have it. There you are. And so I'm going to continue the wonderful tradition that I had in radio, and that is to play the occasional instructional record. And some of them are boring as hell, but that's what makes them fun. And this one is somewhere in the middle. This is called Anaplasmosis of Cattle on the St. Louis Brain Sandwich Show.
The disease anaplasmosis has become an increasing threat to beef production in many parts of the country. Discussing this disease will be Dr. J.C. Mullins, general practitioner from Clarksdale, Mississippi. The Mississippi Delta region is rapidly becoming noted for its expanding cattle production, and Dr. Mullins has actively practiced in this area for the past 10 years. Because of extensive exposure to this problem, Dr. Mullins has developed an understanding of the disease and the methods by which to combat it. Through cooperation with cattlemen and other practicing veterinarians in this area, anaplasmosis losses have been substantially reduced. Dr. Mullins has frequently addressed both veterinary and cattlemen associations on the control of anaplasmosis and has had papers on the subject published in many professional journals. Dr. Mullins.
The livestock man has suffered great losses from anaplasmosis in the south and southwest, and this information is offered to familiarize you with this problem. You may or may not be familiar with the term anaplasmosis. And I would like to say that anaplasmosis is simply a disease of the red blood cell which is thought to be caused from a virus or possibly a protozoan organism which destroys the red blood cell, producing great stress upon the animal. Now, anaplasmosis is known to occur in 40 states and possibly occurs in other regions where it has not been recognized nor reported. Previously, anaplasmosis was thought to be a disease that seldom reached epidemic proportions, but let me assure you that this disease can and will reach epidemic proportions when conditions are favorable. The disease is spread by all types of blood-sucking insects such as mosquitoes, flies, ticks, and can also be spread by the farmer himself or livestock man who vaccinates, dehorns, and castrates his animals without using proper precautions. Losses from this disease run into millions through death, loss of weight, loss of milk production, abortions, loss of time from labor involved in the treatment, and the expense of treatment. So you can readily see that this disease can cause great economic loss to you as a livestock man. At this point, I know you're wondering how you can recognize this disease if it should enter your herd. Let me say that the forms of the disease can be classified according to their rapidity of onset into the peracute form, the acute, the subacute, and chronic forms. In the peracute form, you would probably find a dead animal. In the acute form, which is less rapid than the peracute form, you would see a rapid loss of weight, cessation of milk production, rapid breathing, temperature between 104 and 107, staggering gait, abortions, and yellowing of the skin and membranes. In the subacute form, all the symptoms of the acute form are exhibited but are less pronounced. The chronic form of anaplasmosis exhibits an extremely thin animal, yellow skin and membranes, dehydration of the body fluids, and a hair coat that is rough and dry, resembling dry moss. Now, to make matters worse, you as a livestock owner are familiar with diseases such as leptospirosis, pneumonia, anthrax, and malignant edema. And I would like to say here that these diseases can be confused with anaplasmosis. In leptospirosis, you have abortions, yelling of the skin, high fever, and a loss of weight. As you have heard previously, these same symptoms are exhibited in anaplasmosis. Pneumonia produces rapid breathing and a staggering gait. Here, too, you have the same symptoms in anaplasmosis. Anthrax and malignant edema both produce high temperature and rapid death. And you find it also in this disease that we're discussing.
Anaplasmosis of cattle. And the great thing about playing that now is that I don't have to do it anymore. I can, if somebody asks for it again in the future, I can just refer them back to podcast number 6. And you'll find it, and it's track number so-and-so. All right, we're going to continue with the Adventures by Morse serial that I started in the last podcast. This is called Dead Men Prowl. And I got addicted to this particular series back in 1988 or so. A friend of mine from New York had sent a bunch of them on cassette. And I have a real fondness for this particular serial because it was the first one I heard in this series. And it was just absolutely phenomenal. So if you just got this on your computer or whatnot, and you can just sit back and relax, you might really enjoy this. I hope you do. And if not, I won't do any more after this, but I'm going to get through the entire serial here in the next few podcasts and whatnot. So let me know what you think. brainboys@AOL.com. And here is Chapter 2 of Dead Men Prowl on the Brain Sandwich Show.
Adventures by Morse. Carlton E. Morse presents Dead Men Prowl, featuring Captain Friday.
If you like high adventure, come with me. If you like the stealth of intrigue, come with me. If you like blood and thunder, come with me.
The village of Holman, isolated little beach resort on the Marin County coast, 2 miles from the nearest railway and 5 miles from the only road, has for transportation facilities only commercial tugs and private sailboats, which ply between San Francisco and its one rickety pier at varied intervals. There are perhaps 30 permanent residents in Holman. This late in the season, all the summer residents are gone, and the resort hotel is closed. And to this out-of-the-way nook, Captain Bart Friday has brought Dr. Jamie Croft for a quiet weekend. But it was anything but quiet. Let Captain Friday tell it.
Well, first, we found Carmel and Andres Ruiz, cousins, on the beach, frightened by what they called a skeleton parading in a long cloak. Carmel and Andres are niece and nephew of Andrew Walters, one of the 2 rich men of Holman. Next, we found the body of old Doc Sims on the beach. Sims was the village's other rich man. Apparently, he died of natural causes. Doc Sims, among other things, was coroner of Holman, and at his own expense had erected a tiny modern morgue. To date, the morgue had never had a victim. But on carrying Sims to the concrete structure, we discovered on the slab the body of the village half-wit, murdered. But that wasn't all.
No, that wasn't all. In fact, it was just the beginning. For on top of everything else, Carmel and Andres found the body of their uncle, Andrew Walters, hanging in his room. 3 deaths in one night. And Holman hadn't had a death for 20 years. And then to add a dash of macabre to the mystery, who should Captain Friday and Dr. Croft see walking in the moonlight ahead of them but one of the bodies they had just locked in the morgue? At the moment, Dr. Croft and Carmel Ruiz are at Captain Friday's cottage.
Now, Mr. Ruiz, sit down on this little footstool, right up close to the fire. You must get over this fit of shivering, you know.
I'm so cold, Dr. Croft. If maybe I had something hot to drink.
That's a splendid idea. Now, you sit here close by the fire with this blanket around you, and I'll rummage about in the kitchen and see if I can't make some coffee.
Oh, it's terrible. It's terrible.
Now, Miss Ruiz.
Please, won't you call me Carmel? Miss Ruiz makes me feel so lonesome.
You look like a very small infant huddled up in that blanket.
I'm 18.
Oh, quite. Now then, I'm going to see about that coffee.
Croft. Dr. Croft.
Hello? What's up?
Dr. Croft. How could a dead body be walking down the road?
Now, see here. Didn't I tell you you weren't to think anything more about that?
I can't think of anything else.
Now, here. Let me take your hands. Ice cold. Now, this will never do. The coffee's on. Supposing I sit down here beside you and hold these cold hands. Oh, in a very professional manner. And then we'll talk.
That was the worst of all. Dead man walking around. Everything else was bad enough. The skeleton that followed us on the beach. My uncle hanging. Oh, why doesn't Andres and the captain come back?
They'll be here presently.
I don't think they should have followed the Dr. Sims.
Tell me, Carmel. Tell me something about yourself, your childhood.
There isn't very much.
Oh, there must be a great many things.
Mostly, I've been with other girls in the convent. I was very little when I went there. Hardly 6.
You've been under the care of the convent since you were 6?
That was when Mother died. I don't remember Father at all.
But you've had some very happy years, it would seem to me.
Oh, yes, they were so good to me. But I did want someone of my very own. Family, the same as other girls.
Quite naturally.
And so when Uncle Andrew sent for me, you see, I didn't even know I had an uncle until he sent for me.
Queer business.
Oh, but I was happy. I came just as quickly as I could. Then when I got off the train on this side of the bay, there was Andres.
And you discovered that you had not only an uncle, but likewise a cousin, eh?
A real family. Then it all started. All these terrible things.
Now, see here, you're not going to tremble anymore. See how warm your hands are getting.
Oh!
Hello? Here comes Captain Friday and your cousin.
Hello, Doctor.
Here we are.
Oh, please, Carmel, is everything all right? You see, it was necessary I go with Captain Friday, or I would not have gone.
Did you catch him?
Aye, we had find nothing. Almost we have come to conclusion that we have made mistake.
Make yourself comfortable, Andres. I'm making coffee out in the kitchen. Now, if you'll come along and show me where you keep things, Captain.
Yeah, it's a good idea.
Any luck at all, Captain Friday?
No, not much. Nothing about this thing makes sense. It's beginning to give me the jitters.
Fancy that.
Well, fancy all you like, but that was Doc Sims that went down the road ahead of us.
But Doc Sims is dead. We placed his body in the morgue.
Yes, I know that.
Oh, how can you be certain? Did you catch him?
No. But we went back to the morgue and had another look.
I see.
Yeah. I didn't care about that either.
My word. Don't tell me that the great detective Captain Friday has nerves.
Oh. We went back and had a look in the morgue. Doc Sims' body was gone.
But does that necessarily mean that the body got up and walked off?
Well, what else does it mean? We saw it leaving.
Still, you might consider the theory that someone hid the body and then dressed to look like Sims.
But I saw his face. And I know Doc Sims' face when I see it.
Well, what do you think?
That the coffee's done. And if you get more cups and spoons, we'll give our guests a hot drink and put them to bed.
That was a good idea, bringing Carmel and Andres here.
Yeah. Now, somehow I've got a notion they're going to play a pretty important part in this thing before it's finished.
Ah? You think it isn't finished?
Oh, not by a jugful. Rich Hartley's half-wit son shot to death. Andy Walters hanged. Doc Sims starts walking around after dropping dead. I'll say it's not the end.
Doc Sims' body is the only one that has moved?
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, Captain, what about informing Mr. Hartley about his son's death?
I've had enough tonight. The morning will do just as well. Grab the coffee pot, Doctor. Let's go back to the front room.
Don't you think it would be a good idea to minimize everything before Carmel?
Yeah. Yes, too bad about her. Attractive youngster.
She's 18.
Yeah? She doesn't look it.
You can't always tell, Captain. You can't always tell.
Coffee served.
Come now, Carmel. You'll have a cup. And then we're going to tuck you into bed and see that you get a good night's rest.
Oh, please. I don't think I could sleep.
Of course you will. I guarantee it. Snug as a mess of puppies.
And just to make sure, I'm going to give you the bedroom that hangs out over the beach. When the tide's in, the water laps right up under your windowsill. That'll rock you to sleep.
It might help.
But, Senor Captain, supposing it should lap over the windowsill.
I'll never ask so far, fella.
But is it not possible?
Perhaps, Carmel, to satisfy your cousin Andres, you should wear a bathing suit to bed in place of pajamas.
Oh, you're all so friendly. Would have been wonderful to know you all if...
Well, for me, I think it is wonderful to find so good friends in this trouble.
Yeah, we'll pull you out of it, okay? You just forget about it and let us do the worrying.
No, it is my burden, and I shall not forget my part of it. Still, it is very good to know that one has friends. You know, these people in Holman, they have not been very friendly. I do not know why. Perhaps because they do not speak English very well.
Yeah, mossbacks. Don't like anything that's different.
Well, 3 deaths in one night aren't going to set very well with them either, I'm afraid.
I'll say it won't. They'll be buzzing like a hatful of bees by morning. Coffee make you feel better, Carmel?
Queer. I do feel like sleeping.
Sleepy, eh? Captain, where is this room?
Clear at the back. Right down to the end of the hall. And I'll show you.
Ready, Carmel?
Well, all right. Good night, Andres.
You wait here, Andres. We'll get your cousin settled and be right back.
See, I will wait. Good night, Carmel.
We brought all your personal effects from your uncle's. You'll find them in the room.
You're all so good.
This it, Captain?
Yeah, that's right. Here you are, Miss Ruiz.
Please don't call me Miss Ruiz. I prefer Carmel.
All right. Carmel it is.
And I think the room's beautiful.
Hey, look. Come into the window. See how close the ocean is? Looks friendly, doesn't it? Hello? What's that?
What is it, Captain?
Tugboats pulling into the wharf. You can see the searchlight.
Is that unusual?
Yeah. Never heard of it before. Not at 11 o'clock at night.
Oh, probably some citizen of Holman anxious to get back home from San Francisco tonight.
No. Holman residents don't go to the city.
Perhaps a delivery boat with supplies for the store.
This time of night?
Oh, well, we're keeping Carmel up. When you're ready, knock on the door and crawl into bed. Then I'll come in and give you something to make you sleep. Don't want you tossing and fretting.
Thank you, Dr. Croft.
Good night, Carmel.
Good night, Captain.
Now, Doctor, I have a notion to go down to the wharf.
Everything seems to be taking on a sinister hue for you tonight.
Yeah. Why shouldn't it?
Oh, what is it now? Something else?
Nothing at all, Andres. The captain saw a tugboat landing down at the wharf, and he's just wondering about it.
There are too many coincidences taking place tonight.
Hardly call them coincidences, Captain. I never saw a more unrelated set of circumstances.
Of course they're related.
Really? Well, I can't see it myself. Now, what relation is there between Doc Sims falling dead on the beach and Andrew Walters hanging himself in his home?
The 2 rich men of Holman dead on the same night. That's enough for me.
But what's the relationship between them and the village half-wit we found in the morgue shot through the heart?
The mere fact that there hasn't been a death in Holman for 20 years, and then suddenly there are 3 deaths. It smells like plenty of trouble.
Yes, I suppose it does. But where does the skeleton in the moonlight, seen by Andres here in Carmel, enter the picture? And what has all this to do with Dr. Sims' body wandering about after we've definitely locked him up in the morgue?
Not so fast, Doctor. Let's take them one at a time.
Dr. Croft.
Carmel is calling.
All right, you may come in, Dr. Croft.
You'll excuse me, please. I just put a drop of sedative in the child's coffee, but I want to give her one more tablet to be certain she sleeps.
Okay, go right ahead, Doctor. Andres, tell me something about your uncle. How was he acting before you left the house tonight?
My, what a nice lot of hair. Didn't let you cut it in the convent, I see.
No, Doctor.
Mm-hmm. Now, I'm going to open this window. The salt air will make you sleep like a top. The sound of the waves will lull you. Seems to be stuck. There it is. There. Doesn't that sound good?
Oh, yeah.
Now then, sit up and take this tablet. And here's a glass of water. Just enough to get the tablet down.
It's down.
Good girl. Now then, lie down. You going to be warm enough?
Oh, yes.
Well, that's all right then. I'm going to make the captain give me the room right next to you. There's a door in between, and I'll leave the transom open. Now, if you want anything, just call.
Thank you. That way I won't feel so frightened.
No, of course not. There's nothing to be frightened of, child. Good night now. I'll snap out the light as I leave.
Good night.
Well, that seems to settle that pretty well.
I assure you, Captain Friday, it is everything I know about my uncle.
Yeah? I'd say there were a lot of things you haven't found out yet. Oh,
Got your patient settled, Doctor?
Yes. Carmel will sleep.
Seems to me I promised you a restful weekend. I intended having you lie down all day Saturday and Sunday just listening to the ocean. Wait. What was that?
Oh, I say, Captain, you do have the jumps.
Didn't you hear it? Something on the porch.
Could it be the walking body?
Oh, come now.
There. There. Didn't you hear it?
Rather. What do you suppose?
Quiet.
Well, if it's old Doc Sims' body, it hasn't forgot its manners.
Manners?
Yes, open the door and let the corpse walk in.
In the weekend cottage of Captain Friday in the isolated village of Holman, the girl Carmel has been given a sedative and put to bed by Dr. Croft. The three men, Croft, Captain Friday, and the girl's cousin, Andres Ruiz, were discussing the three deaths of the evening when there came a knock on the door. A midnight visitor.
Is it Dr. Sims' body?
Has the decency to rap before entering anywhere.
I will hold my gun on the door.
Oh, nonsense.
Just the same, keep it handy, Andres.
For certainty.
Shall I do the honors, Captain?
I'll answer it. You keep back out of the way. Well?
Oh, please. Have you a room where we could stay tonight?
A room? Well, this isn't a hotel.
I told you how it would be. Come on, Gale.
Oh, I say, Captain, how about having them in for a few moments anyway?
What's going on here tonight, anyway? Okay, come on in. Follow the doctor into the front room.
Of course, if we're not wanted.
Oh, it's okay. Come on in. Oh, drop your bags there in the corner.
Right in here. Well, where did you two drop from? Both of you look badly done up.
We are. But may I introduce myself? I'm Gail Stanley, and this is my brother Martin.
Delighted. And I am Dr. Jamie Croft, and this is Captain Bart Friday, who's your host. And here is Mr. Andres Ruiz, a guest.
How do you do?
Where did you two say you came from?
From the south.
You see, when we heard that our uncle had died here in Holman...
What's that?
Well, he did die, didn't he?
Who?
Well, our uncle. Isn't Dr. Sims dead?
Well, my dear child, but who sent you word that Dr. Sims was dead?
Well, it was just signed a friend.
When did you get it?
The messenger boy got me out of bed at 3 o'clock this morning. Said Dr. Sims had died suddenly and we should come immediately.
Funny you should get the message this morning when he didn't die until sometime this evening.
Well, how horrible.
Got the telegram with you?
You have, haven't you, Martin?
Yes, of course. Just a minute. Yeah, here it is.
Yeah, it's authentic, all right. You two came over on that tug we saw a few minutes ago, I suppose.
Why, yes. We came just as fast as we could. You see, the message said for us to hurry.
Uh-huh.
We thought there'd be a hotel or someplace we could stay tonight, but there wasn't a single light in the whole town except in this house.
Yes, that's the reason we came here.
And quite properly, too. Well, how about it, Captain? You enough beds?
I suppose so. There are 2 bedrooms with twin beds and the lounge in Carmel's room.
Just a minute. I want to get this straight. Dr. Sims is dead, isn't he?
Well, what's wrong? He is, isn't he?
Say, Gail, there's something queer here.
You don't know the half of it, brother.
Well, why don't you tell us? Is he dead or isn't he?
Yes. Yes, he's dead, all right.
Well, then?
Yes, he's dead. But he doesn't seem to know it.
What do you mean?
Now, see here. I think the best thing to do is for us all to get a good night's rest and then tomorrow thrash this whole business out.
But if there's something we should know about...
Nothing that won't keep until the morning. Now then, Captain Friday permitting, I'm going to assign sleeping quarters.
Go right ahead, Doctor.
Then I suggest that Miss Stanley take the couch in Carmel's room.
Oh, I wouldn't disturb
Oh,
anyone.
no, you won't disturb anyone. The girl who's a cousin of Mr. Ruiz here is already asleep. Now then, I'll take the next room so that I'll be close by in case Carmel grows restless.
Is she ill?
No, but she's had a most distressing evening. Andres, supposing you occupy the second bed in my room.
With pleasure.
That will put you, Mr. Stanley, with Captain Friday in the bedroom on the other side of the hall.
If it isn't an imposition.
Well, how about it, Captain?
As good as any. I'll get extra bedding for the couch.
Well, please, if you'll just give me the bedding, I'll make it up.
Okay, Miss Stanley. I'll leave everything just outside the door.
Please, I too have had a hard day. You would excuse me if I should retire?
Run along, Andres.
Please, then. Good night.
Good night. Second door to the right, you know. Now, how about you, Mr. Stanley?
I'm dog-tired, all right, but I would like to know something about this business of my uncle.
Please, Mr. Stanley, in the morning.
Right. Where's the room I'm to share with Captain Friday?
Right down the hallway, son. I'll show you the room. I'll be right back, Miss Stanley.
Night, sis. Queer business all around, all this bother.
No bother in the least. Right in here. I think you'll find it comfortable.
Thank you.
Not at all. Good night.
Good night.
Oh, here you are, Captain. You have Miss Stanley in tow, I see.
Oh, we're making so much trouble.
Oh, forget it. Wait until you see the sort of hotcakes I turn out for breakfast. Now then, here's plenty of covers.
Oh, yes, plenty.
Well, I guess that's everything.
Will the light bother the other girl?
Oh, not in the least. She won't awaken.
Then good night.
If you need anything, just call out.
Well, I'm certain I won't.
Good night.
Oh, it'll be good to get out of these clothes. One slipper. 2 slippers. Oh, dear, another runner. Quaint old-fashioned room. Perfectly darling. Just imagine sleeping on the edge of the ocean.
Hello. Who are you?
Oh, I've wakened you. I'm sorry.
No, I've been awake.
Really? I'm afraid you're just being kind.
You're a friend of Captain Friday.
No, we're total strangers. I'm Gail Stanley. Captain Friday was good enough to put Martin and me up for the night.
Martin?
Yes, he's my little brother.
Little?
Well, he's 22.
Oh. I'm Carmel Ruiz.
You're sleepy, child. I'll turn out the light.
Oh, no, you're not finished undressing.
Well, I can easily finish in the dark.
I'm glad you're here. I mean, sleeping in here with me.
But that's awfully generous.
Not really. I feel a lot safer now.
Safer? Well, what's there to be afraid of?
Then you don't know?
There, you're getting yourself wide awake. I'm going to turn out the light and crawl in. I need sleep terribly.
Honey, I feel awfully drowsy in spite of everything.
There. Oh, my, but a bed feels good. Imagine going to sleep to the sound of waves.
Isn't very dark, is it? With the moon coming in.
It's simply enchanting. What? That's strange.
What?
That shadow. Didn't you see it cross the room?
Why, no.
Huh. Queer. I guess it was my imagination. Well, good night.
Good night, Gail.
I can just feel myself unwind. Uh-oh. Huh. Who's there?
What is it?
Shh. There's someone at the window.
Oh, please. Call Captain Friday. Don't let it get in.
Be quiet. Wait.
We mustn't. We mustn't, I tell you.
Listen. Listen.
There. There. Don't you hear it? Don't you?
Yes, of course. What is it? It sounds like bones rattling.
It's what it is. Bones rattling. It's a skeleton. It's after me. It's after me.
Skeleton? Oh, that's silly. It's probably the wind blowing the shutters. Of course there's some explanation.
Oh, no.
Carmel, you're just nervous. Look, supposing I come and get in bed with you. Would that help?
But you said yourself there was someone.
Well, I shouldn't have. It was just that I heard the noise, and I was startled for a minute.
Would you come and sleep with me?
Of course. That big bed looks absolutely luxurious.
I feel kind of lost in it. It's so big.
Our grandmother slept in beds like this. Oh, marvelous. Old-fashioned feather bed.
You don't think it was the skeleton?
Say, what in the world are you talking about, Carmel? What skeleton?
The one that followed Andres and me on the beach tonight.
Why, I never heard of such a thing.
I never did either until I came to Holman. But it did.
You mean just a bare skeleton?
No, it was wearing a cloak. A long black cloak. It had a huge black hat pulled down over its face.
But if it was covered, well, how do you know it was...
Because the wind blew the cloak back and there it was.
And you think it's come here now?
It's what I thought.
Do these people, I mean Captain Friday and Dr. Croft, know about it?
Yes.
What did they say?
They didn't say anything. But I know they think we were mistaken.
Oh, of course you were. Skeletons don't walk around. You're old enough to know that. Hush. Listen.
It isn't the shutter at all. You can tell it is.
Well, if it's a skeleton, he's certainly giving himself a good shaking.
Miss Stanley, get back in bed. What are you going to do?
I'm going to see what's outside the window.
Please. Please don't go near the window. Please.
Nonsense.
You mustn't. 3 people have already been murdered and...
What did you say?
It's true. Please keep away from the window.
Did you say 3 persons were murdered?
I don't know. But they died. There it is again.
You stay in bed. I'm going to have a look.
Please. Please.
I'll only be a minute.
Come back. Please come back.
Oh, no! Let go of her throat! Captain Friday! Andres! He's dragging her out of the window! He's dragging her out of the window!
So already the new arrivals, Gale and Martin Stanley, have been dragged into the evil which is afoot in Holman. 3 dead. Andrew Walters, rich man, hanged. Doc Sims, mayor, coroner, and second rich man, dead of natural causes. And third, the half-wit boy, shot through the heart. One of the bodies on the prowl, and the skeleton of still another, keeping a close and menacing guard over Captain Friday's cottage. Listen next week to Chapter 3 of Dead Men Prowl, which is entitled The Dead Do Walk at Night. You are listening to Adventures by Morse.
Okay, Chapter 2 of Dead Men Prowl. The third one I'll do on the next podcast and so on until we get through the entire 10 chapters. Hope you really enjoyed that. Okay, well, that about wraps it up. I'm going to close with a song. This is called Nashville Cats by the Lovin' Cohens. I'm very fond of parody, and you'll learn that if you haven't already. I'm Mike Madonna, and thanks very much for listening to the program. Hope you enjoyed it, and I will talk to you later. Adios.
Nashville Cats, here runs a kosher deli. Nashville Cats, the only place in town. Nashville Cats, it's not like you're in Brooklyn. Nashville Cats, the only one around. Well, there's 1,352 different restaurants in Nashville, and you can eat anything from a hominy grid to a contact time pill. But there's only one place to get a half sour pickle or a corned beef sandwich in Nashville. Just ask anybody how to get the Cats as if you're looking to eat well. About a year ago, it wasn't possible to find a kosher delicatessen. And the people said, Mr. Katz, won't you open up a place to press in? Well, it was a good idea for a Brooklyn boy to bring a kosher deli to Nashville. And when his bubba asked him who would eat his food, he said the Tennessee folks will. They call him Nashville Katz. He runs a kosher deli. Nashville Katz, the only one in town. Nashville Katz, it's not like you're in Brooklyn. Nashville Cats, the only place around. Have a Yiddish dish, a potato knish, or a bagel and cream cheese. A little chicken soup or gefilte fish with some carrots and green peas. If you can get through that, have a little chopped liver or a piece of herring and wine sauce. Then you can wash it down with a Dr. Brown. Shouldn't be a total loss. Eat, darling, eat. Nashville Cats. Here runs a kosher deli. Nashville Cats, the only place in town. Nashville Cats, it's not like you're in Brooklyn. Nashville Cats, the only one around. We also cater bar mitzvahs.